What's up, my friends? Daniel A. Edwards here again today to talk about Brushy Bill Roberts, who claimed to be Billy the Kid. Now, today is a very, very special day. I am going into the belly of the beast, so to speak, and I'm actually going to do a response video. So I never do a response videos. People have asked me, why don't you do collaborations with different channels? Why don't you respond to critics and things like this? And honestly, I don't think there's much value in it. Not because I'm afraid to have the dialogue, but because there's such a distinction between kind of what I do and what most of these guys do. So it's never really worth it to me to do it. It kind of is boring to me, to be honest with you, because we're talking two completely different languages. But there is a guy who has a channel, and I call it the Wild West Exploitaganza. It's not a bad thing to exploit something. It just means that you're taking advantage of something to get the most value out of it. So there's a guy who has a channel, Wild West Exploitaganza, who really, in my opinion, doesn't strike me as a historian. Somebody that has a Kenny Powers voice, is entertaining, and has a way of speaking that really builds empathy with the audience. And so he's used that to build quite a following with the channel. I remember when he first came out, it was audio only. It was obviously very much a beginner. And he did a video, Brushing Bill is a Lying Liar. And so I reached out to him. We had a dialogue and, very popular video. I think it was actually probably one of his most popular videos. And we had a little bit of a dialogue, and he was very cool. He was like, respectfully, I love Young Guns, love the Western, love the movies, but I don't think Brushy Bill is Billy the Kid. As far as I'm concerned, I said, well, good luck. I think your channel's great, and I think you're going to do well. That said, I don't personally listen to it because it's entertainment. It's, to me, it's not really history. I think this type of channel is like the pro wrestling of history. Okay, so if you ever watch pro wrestling, there's always been a debate like, is it real or is it fake? It's real. And yeah, these guys are real athletes, and they're certainly, very good looking and big and all that stuff, but it's possibly scripted and possibly not real in the same way as maybe football or the other type of sports. So this channel, the Wild West Exploitaganza, in my opinion, is the pro wrestling. It's the WWE of history. So I think the title fits. And look, I don't discourage anybody from making a living or monetizing content, but and I actually like this guy. So I actually like him so much that I want to help this guy out. When his channel struggles, this is my opinion, he goes back to Brushy Bill. So he'll say, "Oh, yeah, I was drugged back in. They keep dragging me back in." But I really think that as his channel, has some videos that are duds, he wants to come back to Brushy Bill. So we'll see if after this video he says he does what he says he's gonna do, and he doesn't talk about Brushy Bill anymore. He can just point people to this video. But we'll see. I doubt it. I think that this is the gift that keeps on giving. So we're gonna keep having these conversations about Brushy Bill Roberts, and that's fine. Anybody can talk about it. Nobody owns the subject. So anyway, he did a video on Billy the Kid, the Silver City photo, and I'm being honest with you, I don't watch this stuff. Now, I did just watch it because I actually recorded this video already, and this is my second attempt because as I watch this video and I comment on it, I have it on a screen in front of me, and it's got the closed captioning. And so I'm able to read it before he verbalizes it. And what I realized that I was doing, and the reason I have to do this over, is I was responding to him before you as the audience can hear what he said. So that's very annoying and probably not a good experience for you guys. So while I absolutely hate doing this, and you'll hear it in my commentary as we go through, I didn't want it to really be a video of me talking to myself. So anyway, I'm going to let him speak as I listen to this. It was the first time I had listened to a little bit of it, but this is now the second time I'm watching it, and you'll see kind of the difference in the approach. So really, the only reason I'm doing this, and I think this is a one of a kind, is because there's a big difference in how I approach research and the topic, and how these kind of people and other people approach the topic. So anyway, this is about Billy the Kid, the Silver City photo, and I'm going into the belly of the beast here, and you'll get to hear what he has to say about it and what I have to say about it. So here we go. Wish me luck. Wait, I'm going to plug my coffee. That's great coffee. All right, I'm just playing. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Did the New York City Police Department really prove that Brushy Bill Roberts was Billy the Kid by using forensics technology? I get questions like this all the time, and if it's not the NYPD, it's the CIA or the FBI or Interpol or some other official sounding group. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no, none of those agencies have ever conducted a photo comparison study or any type of investigation into Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill Roberts. It has never happened. Now, that said, most of the time when someone brings up Billy the Kid and the NYPD, what they're referring to is a documentary produced by Dan Edwards titled Billy the Kid, the Silver City Photo.
Let's pause there. All right. So again, nothing personal against Josh. This is my personal opinion, and we have emailed back and forth. So I did like the guy. Maybe I don't like him now. I don't know. All right. So let's start at the beginning.
Did the New York City Police Department really prove that Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid by
All right. So the implication here, the question is, did the New York City Police Department prove that Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid? Right there, the flaw is how these people think, and it's very similar to his own family said he wasn't Billy the Kid, or he was too young to be Billy the Kid, or whatever. Did the New York City Police Department prove that Brushy Bill Roberts was Billy the Kid? That question has nothing to do with my documentary. My documentary never, nor have I, has ever alleged that the NYPD proved that Brushy Bill and Billy the Kid were the same person. Right there, you could stop listening to this video because we're talking about two different things. So there's a mechanism when you're biased, and I happen to think this gentleman is biased, in my humble opinion. You make things ridiculous so that they're easily rejected. It's hard to respond to because it's so idiotic to say that. The documentary said, here's a alleged photo of Billy the Kid, and we got a detective from the NYPD to do facial recognition using modern forensic methods, which we'll talk about in a second, to say if they look alike or not. And the outcome was Detective Furia said they look like they could be identical twins. So that's really the point of it. It's another layer of consideration as the viewer makes up their own mind. If you watch the documentary, I say very clearly, whether or not this is, Brushy Bill, this new photo, adds another dimension to the study. So my approach is to find the truth and to honestly look at evidence, honestly give my opinion. Of course, there's the Billy the Kid Homeowners Association. Nobody asked this guy. Who asked this guy to give his opinion? Well, who asked you to give your opinion? So there's those guys that say, you have to come to us and we'll tell you if you're allowed to say that or do that. And I'm not suggesting that Josh is like that, although he may, in this video, give some evidence of his thinking that may or may not support that. But the whole approach is off, okay, already. This is why I don't watch this stuff. I got to watch it again for you guys because I love you. But here we go. All right, let's start over. I don't want to over talk this.
Did the New York City Police Department really prove?
Really prove. No one said they did. So it's already a false narrative.
That Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid by using forensics technology? I get questions like this all the time, and if it's not the NYPD, it's the CIA or the FBI or Interpol or...
Okay. There's no way that's true. You get questions all the time if the NYPD did it. And if it's not them, it's the CIA or the FBI or Interpol. And I think he says
some other official sounding group.
Some other official sounding group. Okay. This is not intended to insult his audience because I don't think it's the audience. I think it's him. How stupid would your viewers have to be to think that the CIA did an investigation on Billy the Kid? Why not? Or some other official sounding group, like, I don't know, Department of Agriculture? Hey, is it true? Department of Agriculture did a forensic study and investigation, and they proved that Brushy Bill is Billy the Kid. Why would any of these agencies care? They would not. Okay. So the idea that he gets calls all the time that people, it's CIA. So what he's doing here is he's making it ridiculous so that you can reject it easily. Let's play this again.
And if it's not the NYPD, it's the CIA or the
Yeah.
FBI or Interpol or
Yeah,
some
there's so much confusion out there. Thank you, sir, for straightening it all out. I knew if I came to the homeowners association meeting, you'd tell me the truth. Thank you for clarifying this. It's fantastic.
other official sounding group.
You can't name one other official sounding group that somebody has emailed you and asked, hey, did Clark County, Arkansas, did they do an investigation? Their sound official. The Department of Education sounds official. How about the Department of Redundancy Department? Did they do a study? People ask me all the time. People ask me all the time, how do you get so good looking and such a good complexion? It's this Billy the Kid coffee. Matter of fact, NASA called me. No, Nickelodeon called me, the television station, and said, how do we get your coffee on the moon? Because that's what Nickelodeon does, is they put coffee on the moon. Just like the CIA does freaking analysis of old Wild West photos. How stupid are your audience? You're telling me your audience is a bunch of idiots. No offense to the real audience, because I don't think you did this. I think this is him. All right. You see, I can't get past it. I can't even get, I am 13 seconds in.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no, none of those agencies have ever conducted a
What? Oh my God. What? How could you drop this bad news on me, Josh? How could you drop this bad news on me? None of these agencies, not even Clark County, Arkansas.
FBI or Interpol or some other official sounding group. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no, none of those agencies have ever conducted a photo comparison study or any type of investigation into Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill Roberts.
No joke. We know that. This is all a pretext for you to insert yourself and give your opinion. And candidly, you're wasting your talent, in my humble opinion. This guy has a real good way of endearing himself into the audience. And he's, in my opinion, his lack of credibility by using these mechanisms on things that are false pretexts really is going to hurt him long term. I personally would think no wonder he keeps going back to Brushy Bill because long term, I don't think this works with an audience. I mean, maybe the WWE audience, maybe with the pro wrestling audience, as long as it's glamour and drama and whatever, it's okay. But I mean, WWE certainly did very well. It still does. And I'm not against the pro wrestling. I enjoyed the Hulk Hogan documentary. Actually, used to live in Clearwater. Used to see him on the beach all the time. All right, this is hard for me, but I'm gonna push through.
It has never happened.
Nobody
That
nobody said it happened.
said, most of the time when someone brings up Billy the Kid and the NYPD, what they're referring to is a documentary produced by Dan Edwards titled Billy the Kid, the Silver City Photo.
Most of the time, most of the time that people bring up, did NYPD confirm that Brushy Bill Roberts and Bill it looks like Billy the Kid? Most of the time, it's my documentary. What other documentaries are there? What other study has there been? What Interpol study? What CIA study? What FBI study? What Clark County, Arkansas, whatever the heck it is? Most of the time, this is what I'm talking about. Like it's just we're just loosey goosey talking. Well, then don't talk about historical things that are technically specific. Most of the time, what other occasion is there that it's not my documentary with Emilio Estevez?
Agencies have ever conducted.
Most of the time when we talk about that Wild West movie that has Brushy Bill in it, that has Charlie Sheen and Kiefer Sutherland, and most of the time when they're talking about that movie about Billy the Kid and it's got all those actors in it, most of the time that's Young Guns. Like what other freaking movie has those actors in it that talks about Billy the Kid? Most of the time it's Young Guns. No joke.
Did a photo comparison study or any type of investigation into Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill Roberts. It has never happened. Now, that said, most of the time when someone brings up Billy the Kid and the NYPD, what they're referring to is a documentary produced by Dan Edwards titled Billy the Kid, the Silver City Photo. I'll drop a link down below if you'd like to check it out for yourself. No. But the documentary...
Don't. It sucks. I mean, the whole point of this is to tell you it sucks. So why would you check it out?
Is mostly centered around a newly discovered photograph that allegedly depicts Billy the Kid over in Silver City, New Mexico. Now, I personally happen to disagree.
No.
But that's neither here nor there.
That's neither here. It's the whole point of you making the video. All right. That's the other thing is like own your position. You're not, this is like fake news. It's literally, I feel like I'm watching CNN right now or Fox, depending on which side of the aisle you're on. But it's the same thing. I'm neutral, man. I don't have a dog in this fight.
What really caught my attention and what I'd like to discuss today is one of the methods that Mr. Edwards used to authenticate the photo, along with several other photos also featured in the documentary.
This is not avoidance. There's a uh, body language cue when someone doesn't want to accept what is being said. It's called avoidance. So if I'm fidgeting over here and I don't want to hear it, I'm not going to give you eye contact. That's avoidance. This is boredom. This is not avoidance. This is absolute boredom. So I don't know if you want to watch me being bored, but this is my genuine reaction to these videos. So this is probably why it'll be the last time ever that I do one. Maybe not. Maybe it's fun. I'll probably have fun with the comments, but who knows? And it's not all about me, but I freaking hate this like more than you can imagine. It's just not what I do. It's ridiculous. All right, sorry. I keep interrupting. You can watch this if you want. I wish him every success. He wants to talk about my methods that he misrepresents.
It is one of the methods that Mr. Edwards used to authenticate the photo, along with several other photos also featured in the documentary. And I say method, but really I'm just referring to one person.
Matt's method. So I did this once already, and I know what I'm going to say now. It's going to be the same thing I said in the first video that you're not going to see because I talk over it. He says method, but it's really one person, Detective Michael Furia from NYPD. And you're going to hear how he contradicts himself horribly. And he's going to talk about my allegation, my claim that there was modern forensic methods used in the analysis of the Billy the Kid Silver City photo, which I stand by that. In his mind, because he doesn't know what he's talking about, in my opinion, he thinks AI, he thinks technology, he thinks computers, he thinks whatever, because that's to him what he thinks modern forensic methods mean. It's not. It's exactly what Detective Fury did. And I'm going to let him tell you in his own words, even though he doesn't know what he's telling you. I'll explain it using his exact words to show the difference and how he doesn't know what he's talking about and how Detective Fury did use modern forensic methods. So I'm going to tee you up on that. So when I show it to you, you know what I'm talking about. So, but he's going to downplay Detective Furia. Just one guy, just an opinion. So I'll let you go through this. It's really tough for me to go through it twice, but I love you, so I'll do it.
A detective by the name of Michael Furia. He's described in the documentary as a quote, facial recognition expert currently employed by the New York City Police Department.
So, facial recognition expert currently employed by the New York City Police Department. That's true. They didn't say speaking on behalf of. Matter of fact, in the documentary, I say, tell me who you work for. You're not speaking for your employer. We're totally buttoned up on everything we've done. This is completely wrong, as you'll hear. So let me just let him say his thing.
He's described in the documentary as a quote, facial recognition expert currently employed by the New York City Police Department in their facial recognition unit.
True.
The narrator, who in this case happens to be the great Emilio Estevez, then goes on to state that Furia is a world-leading forensics artist who used modern forensic techniques to match the Silver City photo to other known photos of the subjects it contains. We'll get to that in just a few minutes, but either way, I think we can all agree that Detective Furia has some pretty impressive credentials. I also think that when a man of his caliber speaks, it's worth paying attention.
This is the setup. Oh yeah, I'm reasonable. So certainly, if someone of this caliber speaks, why, by all means, we should worth paying attention to. Although everything I say after this is going to discredit that or attempt to. Yeah, certainly. And then also too, the great Emilio Estevez, the kissing of the ass for the Young Guns guys is appalling because these guys literally, not you, Josh, but because Josh subscribed to my channel, so he's a paid member of A Social Media. Thank you, sir, for your $5. I wanted to actually put like $1,000 membership level on this video because I figured that if not you and your buddies would actually pay it. It's not worth it. I don't want to do that to the people that actually care about my research and make them feel like, why is Dan trying to hose me on $1,000 to see this video? But it was a good idea. I just didn't do it. But the kissing of the ass of Mr. Estevez and those guys is a joke. We're huge fans, but then they literally go out and not this guy, but the homeowners association guys make a lot of videos and attack me and nonsense. And I get death threats from these idiots, not from these idiots, but other idiots around them. And then this girl who keeps trying to make a name for herself and I think gave him some information. So there's a whole pack of these people. So I'm not, again, some people take information from wherever it comes from. And that's okay. It's just that this is it's not, it's embarrassing to me. Like if I didn't agree with Brushy Bill Roberts. If I had the homeowners association approach to this topic, like I'm God and I have to decide for everybody, and you're not permitted to ask questions, you're not permitted to have your own thoughts, I would hate Young Guns. I would actually candidate against Young Guns. But these guys, want to be a part of it. Ooh, maybe if I'm, they'll, well, maybe they'll give me some attention or they'll sign an autograph or they'll whatever. So I think it's shameful, but whatever. I digress.
Modern forensic techniques to match the Silver City photo to other known photos of the subjects it contains. We'll get to that in just a few minutes, but either way, I think we can all agree that Detective Furia has some pretty impressive credentials. I also think that when a man of his caliber speaks, it's worth paying attention. This isn't just some random wacko on YouTube or some conspiracy theorist, okay? This is a highly trained, highly experienced member of law enforcement. So let's hear him out. And let's start with what he actually did versus what people seem to think that he did.
No, it's what he actually did, which is consistently and clearly articulated versus what people like this are trying to say that he said that he didn't say. So what he's going to do is he's going to frame it up to say he never said this, he never said that, he never, as if he's contradicting the claims made in the documentary when we never said those things. It's these people that are writing him or whoever allegedly that are saying these things. So you're just rejecting your own points. You're not, it has nothing to do with our documentary. Let's hear what he has to say.
You see, in the Silver City documentary, at around 23 minutes, Detective Fury is presented with 6 photographs and told that they all depict the same person at different stages of his life.
At least I think so, is what I said. And it's in there.
So different ages. And by the way, these are all supposed to be pictures of Brushy Bill Roberts. He's never told that's who it is, but 2 of them are definitely Brushy when he's an older man. One of the other photos is of a child. One looks to be a teenager. Another is allegedly Brushy when he was 27. And the final image is of a guy wearing a cowboy hat who appears to be in his 40s. Detective Furia then analyzes all 6 photos, pairing them to the Silver City photo, and states that he's, quote, highly confident that is the same person. In other words, all 7 of them are a match. Skip ahead 10 minutes later, at around the 34-minute mark, and that's when Furia is shown the famous tin type of Billy the Kid.
This one is a really, that's not the image. There's a high res image,
which he also compares to the Silver City photo that he previously matched the 6 alleged photos Brushy Bill Roberts to. And I want to be very careful here. I don't want to misrepresent anybody.
Okay, let's pause there. You've already have, dude. So anyway, and you will continue in this video. So that's okay. You can figure it out on your own. So the idea, and this is all in the documentary, the facial recognition department has a possible match. And it means they look alike. Okay. And it establishes probable cause for an investigation. There was no investigation done. This isn't an NYPD investigation. This is me coming in and saying, hey, I have a genealogy project, some old photos. Would you look at these and tell me, if you think they're the same guy? He's very clear in the documentary that that's not really what, because I asked him, I said, you could put somebody in jail with this. He said, no, we don't put him in jail. It's probable cause. Then the detective goes out and investigates. So the whole point is that a world-renowned trained facial recognition expert for the largest law enforcement department in the country, in the world, says they look alike, because they're like, they don't even look alike. Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill don't even look alike. So one, they do look alike, so much so that they could be identical twins, which Detective Furia says of his own mouth. I didn't say, do you think they're twins? He said that you would know if he has a twin brother. So that's came out of his mouth, not mine. The other thing is there's secondary identifiers. Okay, so the posture, the gait, the distance from the chin to chest, the pinky ring, all these things. Those are the modern forensic methods that I talk about, and we'll get into this in a second. But basically, the the characterization of the analysis of the photo is clean in the documentary. The only confusion is what's going to be spouted off here. So let's see.
But I should also note that at no point in the documentary does Detective Furia just flat out state that the man in the Silver City photo is Billy the Kid.
Right there. That's Billy the Kid. He didn't know who Billy the Kid was. He didn't know who Brushy Bill was. The point was not that he's going to solve this for all time. He's saying they look alike. Okay. I think that's the same person. That's probable cause. He's putting the label on it. It's like, well, he said that's Bigfoot. He didn't say that's Bigfoot. He didn't say that man is Billy the Kid. You can, one, it wouldn't be appropriate for him to do that. So again, it's this simplistic, his own family said he ain't Billy the Kid, blah, blah, blah. Same approach that you always get from people that don't understand the evidence around supporting Brushy Bill and as potentially being Billy the Kid.
Nor does he ever claim that
But he did say they look like identical twins.
Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid.
Why would he say Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid? Sorry, I talk over this because I can read it and you guys can't. One more time.
Does Detective Furia just flat out state that the man in the silver is in anybody? But I should also note that at no point in the documentary does Detective Furia just flat out state that the man in the Silver City photo is Billy the Kid. Nor does he ever claim that Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. He never said those statements. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
What he does do, however, is spend the next few minutes pointing out various similarities between the Silver City photo and the Billy.
Okay. So again, another thing is use language that downplays. So they're not corresponding attributes or observations based on modern forensic methods. It's a few similarities. There's a couple similarities. He's downplaying the significance of the analysis.
The Kid tintype. All while saying stuff like, I'm comfortable with this and everything's consistent. And then when he's asked if he thinks it would be highly likely that both photos depict the same person, Furia eventually responds by saying, quote, yeah, looks pretty good. I like it. I do like it. End of quote.
He literally signed, after we told him what everything was, he literally signed a film release that we could put this on TV. He's literally been on my channel confirming his opinion that it's highly likely they're the same person. Always with the stipulation that, you know, an investigation would have to be done. I'm the investigator. I'm the investigative historian. It's in the description of the documentary. So NYPD is not doing an investigation. I'm doing an investigation. So anyway, he didn't really say that. He just said, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Whew. I hope this is fun to watch because I freaking hate this.
So although he never just comes right out and declares the photos to be a match, that's certainly the impression that he's given off. Like I said, there's a link down below. Watch it for yourself. Let me know your opinion. But I don't think I'm too far off base by saying that Furia seems to believe that the photos are a match.
Oh, thank
you. Or
you.
at the very least, he's leaning heavily in that direction.
So thanks. That's a great deduction by carefully considering the evidence. You know, seeing him on national TV or global interstellar TV, you know, literally him being on other podcasts and videos talking about it, he's gonna concede that he might be leaning heavily in the direction. Whatever. Nobody's saying this is proof he's Billy the Kid. It's saying that it's just more supporting evidence for the possibility.
Okay.
It's in the evidence together, including the signed sworn affidavit by Severo Gallegos, which we'll talk about.
Okay, so just to very quickly sum things up, to this point at least, and don't worry, this will all make sense here in just a few minutes.
We're 4 minutes in.
But Furia was given 6 photos, and he's told they all depict the same person. He then matches all 6 of those photos to the Silver City photo, stating that he's highly confident they're all the same person. And then just 10 minutes later, he strongly hints that the Silver City photo matches the Billy the Kid tintype. Therefore, Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid.
Nobody said that. You're saying that. You're saying that. Detective Furia never came out and said, well, therefore, Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid. I don't say it in the documentary. Apparently, the idiot people that watch your channel that think that the NASA investigates photos of Billy the Kid and these other unnamed agencies and the CIA and all that. Apparently, those people are saying that Brushy Bill Roberts is Billy the Kid. I think they're right, by the way, but
Case closed, end of story.
nobody said that. This is how they approach things. This isn't how I approach things.
Now that last part was all me.
Yeah,
Detective
no,
Furia
no
never
shit.
actually says that Roberts is Billy the Kid. But hey, if my inbox is any indication, or
Okay, you got NYPD. He's got a couple. Where's the CIA? Where's the fire department? Where's NASA? Where's the Treasury Department? Um,
if the comments on my YouTube videos are any indication,
one a month ago. So why are you doing it now? Oh, they keep dragging me back in. No, it's because this is the most popular topic you've got, in my opinion. Don't lie. Not that you're lying, but please help us understand.
that's certainly what a lot of people took from his analysis.
Yeah,
Now I say all
because
that
that's what a normal person would take from his
I have to
analysis.
say this. If you actually watch the documentary, which I hope you do, you'll notice that there's
Thanks.
no fancy software or technology or algorithms or anything like that being put to use. Instead, all we have is just one man using nothing more than his eyeballs and then offering up an opinion.
Right there. There's no fancy stuff that I think in my lack of understanding of how this works. There's no fancy stuff going on. Just one guy in his eyeballs. So that is a very telling revelation by this presenter that it's not meeting his expectation. Now, understand he doesn't know how this works or what's going on. Because it's not meeting his expectation, there's a cognitive, what do you call it? Cognitive disconnect or whatever. There's a disconnect cognitively in his brain. And so he's got to rationalize this and figure it out. But he's going to contradict himself here. So again, one guy using nothing more than his eyeballs and offering up an opinion. Well, if I go to a cardiologist and he says your arteries are 80% blocked or 90% blocked, you're going to die. It's one guy. He's using his eyeballs and offering up an opinion. I mean, what does he know? So, I mean, it's a trained professional that does this every day who uses modern forensic techniques that you don't understand that we'll talk about in a second. And you're going to prove my point for me. So thank you.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Just a cardiologist.
And we know that to be the case because Detective Furia explicitly states as much.
This is a gotcha. So lame, brother. I like you. I try so hard.
Right here on YouTube on his own channel.
Wow, smoking gun.
A video titled Billy the Kid. His disclaimer, which is posted in the video.
He's conflating modern forensic techniques and technology, which is not the same thing.
Reads as follows. My opinions are my own and do not reflect the opinions of my employer. This project was for entertainment purposes only and was originally explained to be a genealogy project of subjects I had no knowledge of. I was not paid for the photo analysis done. All analysis was on my own time, and I am not employed by author Dan Edwards. A possible match does not mean it is a positive match. It is simply a belief or hypothesis based on experience and training. This was in no way a full investigation. I was given multiple photos, but not all available photos. Comparing historical photos is not the same as identifying live criminals against a repository. My employer's practices do not include one-to-one photo comparison. No facial recognition technology of any kind was used in the comparison of the photos. My beliefs are based solely on my experience. End of quote. So by Detective Furia's own admission, not only did he not use any facial recognition technology, and not only does his own department not even do one-to-one photo comparisons, so don't really know where the experience comes into play.
Wow, that's telling, isn't it?
But he also states that his findings were nothing more than an opinion and that a possible match is not the same as a positive match.
We say that in documentary.
And just to be clear, I don't have an issue with Detective Furia, okay? I'm also not trying.
I don't have an issue. Well, that's good because we're all so concerned what the homeowners association thinks. Here, I'll play this and then I'll get back to the whole beginning.
Trying to discredit him. He was asked to look at some photos and give his opinion. And that's exactly what he did. I got no problem with that whatsoever.
I got no problem. Yeah, you're allowed to do that. That you're allowed to do. That's okay. You can plant some grass, some flowers, but no trees.
And then cherry on top, he goes the extra mile on his own channel to give further clarification. So no, the NYPD has never ever conducted a photo comparison analysis of Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill Roberts.
Yeah, don't believe your own eyes. It's not an NYPD detective in uniform in the precinct on a NYPD computer looking at the photos and talking to me while he does it. Don't believe that. NYPD has never done that. So look, here's what's going on. So 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 first of all, uh there's I don't think Detective Fury did anything wrong. He was on his lunch break, and so you're taking his characterization of his assistance of a private citizen doing a genealogy project in his free time and the fact that he doesn't want to lose his pension over that with proof that his opinion doesn't matter, which then I don't care what his if he says, well, I'm not going to draw on all my years of experience as a facial recognition expert. I'm just going to tell you what I think without relying on any of that. Why do I care what your opinion is? So it's like it's a big fake thing. The only fake thing is what I'm listening to. So look, this is what I was sent by Detective Furia, and he's a great guy. We still talk. Okay. Facial recognition department. Okay. And some other stuff here, and then a challenge coin for the facial recognition department. Okay. These are just personal effects. This is Detective Fury has sent me that. So these are just mementos and things that they give to people in the community. This is not a uh this is not something that says, oh no, I'm going to argue with this idiotic premise. The New York City Police Department did do this. Nobody ever said they did, but you guys. You guys are the ones who don't understand how this works. You're the ones that are making it something it's not. You're trying to eliminate his credibility without eliminating his credibility, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say it's just his opinion, it's just one guy, it doesn't matter. Literally in the documentary, he says, I got some help from my associates, Detective Fox and Detective whomever, and they all came to the same conclusion. But they're fighting this so hard because they think in their head, that shows you how much they're convinced this is proof. They are convinced that this is proof that Brushy Bill Roberts and Billy the Kid are the same guy, which it is a strong evidence, in my opinion. It adds to the growing body of evidence that Brushy Bill Roberts was Billy the Kid. But they're so afraid of this thing, they have to come at it in this way when we're not taking it that way. I never said, in your face, slam dunk, two hands, in your face. Like, that's how these guys act. Not you, Josh, but you certainly sound like one of them right now. So anyway, you know, it's just telling you stuff we already knew. NYPD never did it. Detective Fury never said he was Billy the Kid. I never said he did. So again, I know it's technical. It's not really that technical, but in these types of conversations, the phrasing matters and the implications matter if you want to get to the truth. That's why I don't do this. This isn't we're talking two completely different languages. This is WWE, and I'm taking a more academic approach.
Sure, one of their employees offered up his opinion, but he certainly didn't use any technology other than the eyeball.
We're going to say use technology. So, okay, I forgot to say this. I sent this to other departments that did respond, that did use AI. He's going to say this, so he's going to contradict himself in a second. AI doesn't work on old photos. That's why you don't use it. And the human eye is better than AI. Now, we have tendencies, which he's going to talk about. I'm sure he did 5 minutes of Wikipedia research on this, and then he's going to contradict himself. So we have tendencies as human beings to do certain things when we look at photos, especially if you want them to be the same person. But modern forensic techniques puts a science behind that so that you don't fall prey to those common mistakes when you're analyzing photos. That's the modern forensic techniques I'm talking about. The chin to chest, the gait, all these different secondary identifiers and things like this. The eyes, the hair, the ears, the how your nose grows out. Like, this is all science-based modern forensic techniques. He completely misses that because he doesn't understand. He's saying technology, technology, technology. Technology, technology. Nobody said technology. I said modern forensic techniques. I didn't say modern forensic technology.
Also,
Dirt.
I gave him.
There we go.
I got no problem with that whatsoever.
Thank you so much. And may I bring another concern to you, please? I mean, at the next homeowners meeting, because I really like to plant a tree, and I know I need your permission.
And then cherry on top, he goes the extra mile on his own channel to give further clarification. So no, the NYPD has never, ever conducted a photo.
We spent 6 minutes and 40 seconds to answer his own topic that we never introduced. And nobody really, one person, not enough to compel you to make a video that's 20 minutes long.
Comparison analysis of Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill Roberts. Sure, one of their employees offered up his opinion, but he certainly didn't use any technology other than the eyeballs that God gave him. And really, man, this just goes back to what I've said on numerous occasions. There's a reason why provenance or chain of ownership is so important when it comes to authenticating these old photos. Our eyes are far from perfect. In fact, study after study has already proven that what we as humans process up in our noggins ain't always an accurate depiction of what we're looking at. Mostly due to our brains being wired to find patterns, even when those patterns aren't really there.
It's like Bill Nye the Science Guy all of a sudden. Like, I'm a historian, I'm a serious historian, but I happen to know a little bit about the neurology of the brain. Wait, hold on. This is only worth it with a delicious cup of Billy the Kid coffee. All right. I hope I'm not boring you too bad. I appreciate you hanging out with me
It's called
because this sucks for me.
pareidolia. I'm probably
Pareidolia.
mispronouncing it, but it's the same reason why people see Jesus on a piece of toast or the Virgin Mary in a water stain. You stare at two old.
Okay. So Detective Fury's opinion is not credible for the same reason that people see the Virgin Mary in or Jesus in a piece of toast. If I wasn't pausing this and going back and forth, like he's literally going through this whole thing. I don't know how long this is. I'm not really going to listen to it that much. To talk about how your eyes will fool you. Don't believe what you're seeing. NYPD never did an analysis of this. Ignore the officer in uniform. Ignore that guy in uniform in the precinct, doing the analysis in real time. Ignore that guy. Yeah, ignore the facial recognition unit, a badge and all. Ignore that. But again, that's not the same thing as saying the department authorized. He's an employee. We make that very clear in the documentary. And, trust me, I got a lot of stuff from NYPD because I did a lot of work. I used to work for Dunkin' Donuts. We did all kinds of stuff with NYPD. I had stickers on my car. I got little cards, whatever. And one of my best friends is Adam Graves from the Rangers, and he's big time NYPD. So I know a lot of NYPD guys. And so it has nothing to do with Detective Furia, but there's 50,000 employees of the NYPD, and you get the whole spectrum of the population. That is not what's at issue. Nobody's trying to put the credibility of the NYPD. It is the skill of their forensic analysis team and the gentleman who is willing to give his professional opinion on whether or not it's a strong likelihood that these people could be the same person based on looking alike, based on secondary identifiers. And again, what should solve is forever is they don't look alike. They don't even look alike. I don't know. I don't see it. Okay, well, they do. Okay, multiple detectives in that unit saw it. Now, does that mean he's a Billy the Kid? No, it means they look alike. Now, does the fact that he has a pinky ring, the fact that he has the same stance, the same shoe size, same everything, the fact that this was in Silver City, potentially, the other people were from this rural area of Canada where the photo was discovered. That all would also seem to lend credibility. But when you can't defeat that, you got to come up with stuff we didn't say, defeat that, and say, well, this just proves that it's not him, when it doesn't. So anyway, he's talking about provenance here, and if you had some provenance, then yeah, that's why it's so important. But so what is provenance? Provenance is like a chain of command from the original to now. Okay. Now you can go to the Fort Sumner Museum and see Billy Kid's shoes, Billy Kid's hair, Billy Kid's this, and there's no provenance for that stuff. Sometimes you'll have something written, signed that says, okay, my name's Joe Schmo, and I was neighbors to Billy the Kid, and he gave me these in 1880, and oops, don't want to lose that. And so they've been in my family the whole time. So you have something signed that says, here's provenance that this came from someone close to Billy the Kid. So we actually have something like that called a sworn affidavit from Severo Gallegos. So we're going to talk here on and on about provenance. Signed. This is under penalty of perjury signed. Those are just written pieces of paper. This is a sworn affidavit in front of a notary, which is a legally binding document. You have the guy who helped Billy the Kid escape after he flee, get away after he escaped from the Lincoln County Jail, and he signed something that's provenance. But when it supports Brushy Bill, oh, that don't. He's yeah, no, that doesn't matter. And all the other affidavits of people that knew Brushy Bill as Billy the Kid, none of that matters. But since we don't have it for this photo, the photo sucks, and the photo's not. You shouldn't even think about it. We didn't approve you to think about it. I don't know. You didn't get permission to think about it and consider this on your own. So I don't know why you're thinking about this. Just listen to this guy. He'll tell you what you need to know. Spend 20 minutes of your time and support his channel, and then you'll be good. But total BS. So first of all, the people that immigrated from this area of Canada ended up in Silver City. There's multiple families, including Maggie Miller, who's a mail order bride. This probably came from her family in that same area. And so there is some supporting evidence that this is potentially connected to Billy the Kid. And it says on the back, Billy the Kid. Now, I don't know who wrote that there, but they didn't sell it as a Billy the Kid picture. This isn't a stack in an estate sale with names of people on the back. And then there's one that says Billy the Kid. So it's not like, hey, let's sneak that in there so we can sell it for $3. They literally bought this for $3. Why put Billy the Kid on it? I'll pay $3 for an old photo that isn't Billy the Kid. Why do you got to write Billy the Kid on it? So it's complete ignorance. It's not how the world works. It's not how any of this works. But if you want to talk about how you see Jesus in a piece of toast, and that's equal to the NYPD facial recognition detective expert, the same thing. So, you can't rely on it. Listen, if you have a piece of toast, it's probably not Jesus. If you need more clarity, go to Josh's channel. He'll straighten you out. But it's probably not Jesus on your toast. But he'll explain why you think it is. That's what we're talking about. That is not what I do. This is so stupid and ridiculous that it's why I don't do these. But whatever. Here we go.
Proven that what we as humans process up in our noggins ain't always an accurate depiction of what we're looking at. Mostly due to our brains being wired to find patterns, even when those patterns aren't really there. It's called pareidolia. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's the same reason why people see Jesus on a piece of toast or the Virgin Mary in a water stain. You stare at two old photographs long enough, especially when you want them to be the same person, your brain will invariably start filling in the gaps.
So he didn't stare at them long enough. He stared at them for a couple minutes, and he didn't want them to be the same person, even know who they were. And he wouldn't confirm Levi Miller.
Maybe their eyes have the same intensity, or their chins are shaped the same way, or they're wearing similar hats. And pretty soon you've convinced yourself that you've cracked the case, when in reality all you've done is what we humans do best.
He's talking to the public here. He's not talking about Detective Furia. He's positioning it like, he's trying to get those of you who are watching his channel and out. Don't feel bad. We all see Jesus in a toast sometimes, and the Virgin Mary in water. I mean, don't feel bad. It's normal. It's okay. It's okay that you fooled yourself into thinking that Brushy and Billy look alike. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You just fooled yourself. Just move on and don't think too hard about it. That's not the point. They do look alike, so much so that they could be identical twins. So again, this is all manipulative. He could really put this to good work, in my opinion, but I think he's doing himself a disservice here, but whatever.
See what we want to see. That's why scientists rely on measurements and methods.
But you don't, right? You're so advanced. You don't do that to yourself. You broke right through. Smart guy. You should be the president of the Homeowners Association. We need leadership like this.
Methodologies as opposed to gut feelings or in.
That's why scientists, sorry, I keep interrupting because I can read it before you guys can see it.
Scientists rely on measurements and methodologies as opposed to gut feelings or instincts.
That's why scientists use measurements and methodologies as opposed to gut feelings or instincts. Huh? Is that modern forensic methods? That's what modern forensic methods are. I want to say you, but I won't. That's why scientists.
They're wearing similar hats, and pretty soon you've convinced yourself that you've cracked the case, when in reality all you've done is what we humans do best. See what we want to see. That's why scientists rely on measurements and methodologies as opposed to gut feelings or instincts.
So wait, you just told me we just have our old eyeballs, just an opinion. Like, no, you got to use technology. But measurements and methodology, like chin to chest, like gait, like secondary identifiers, that's modern forensic techniques. So Just because you misunderstand modern forensic techniques and think that means modern technology when it doesn't, nobody said it did. We talk about it in the thing. I literally say the distance of the eyes, how your nose grows out. Modern, that's why scientists and facial recognition experts use measurements and methodologies as opposed to gut feelings or instincts. Well, guess what? When you do that using the most modern techniques in the world, they look like identical twins. Doesn't mean they're the same guy. It means they look like identical twins. Complete waste of time here, but whatever.
Anyway, just because we can't trust our eyes, that doesn't mean we can't trust the technology.
Technology.
Right? Right? Well, once again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the technology that we actually do need to accurately compare two old photographs and determine whether or not they're the same person doesn't really exist.
So it's impossible. The technology doesn't exist. That's true. We talk about that in the thing. And Detective Fury was like, they don't have the pixels in the old photos. So what are you left with? You're left with modern forensic techniques to come up with a likelihood that someone may be the right person so you can do an investigation. So we're missing the whole point. If they don't, there's no investigation. Okay. That's the whole point of the Silver City photo. If they don't look alike, there's no investigation. You're over. There's no probable cause. That's not the same person. Detective Furia said it's highly likely it is the same person. It needs to be investigated. So what my approach is watch the documentary and then, make your own decision. Let's find more evidence. And when we find evidence that excludes a possibility, we move forward. But this is a different approach. Like, no, you got to come before the homeowners association. We didn't agree to this. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not allowed to have your own opinion. You're not allowed to think about that. So it's such a different thing. This is the pro wrestling of history. This is not a proper investigative method. This is not a proper research method. This is just bullshit going on for 20 minutes. So, and it's fine. Look, monetize it, exploit it, make money off of it. I'm not saying anything bad about this gentleman or the content. It's just different from what I do. He brought me into it. I didn't bring him into it. I don't care about this guy. I just saw he had the Brushy Bill's a lying liar, and I said, really, like, have you really looked into this? Have you really looked at the evidence? And we went back and forth a little bit. Of course, they swore undying loyalty to Young Guns in case they ever meet Emilio. They don't want to be recognized as the people that basically bashed his work. But whatever. This is a waste of time, but let's keep going. Let's waste our time together, my friends. This is great coffee.
At least not yet. And it certainly doesn't exist in the way people seem to think that it exists. This stuff is not magic. Facial recognition software that we do have, even the cutting edge stuff used by the NYPD, it was built for one specific job. And that job is to take a high resolution photograph and match it against a database of other high resolution photographs. Mugshots, passports, driver's licenses, stuff like that.
It always bothers me. It's like these people that put out, I have an update on Young Guns. You don't know shit about Young Guns, okay? You don't know anything about Young Guns other than what you see on TV. And if you did, you shouldn't be telling it, okay? So this is like, let me tell you all about modern technology and facial recognition. Okay, thank you, Wikipedia. But it's just hard for me to listen to. Not because I'm the expert either, but it's just like, why would I listen to somebody tell me about something they don't know anything about?
Not 19th century tintypes. You gotta think, man, modern digital photos, they contain millions of pixels of facial detail. Whereas a scanned tintype from the 1880s might have a fraction of that. And a good chunk of what's there isn't even real facial information. It's chemical artifacts or scratches or just dust that's been built up for over a century. Meanwhile, the software doesn't know the difference between a wrinkle on the face and a scratch on the plate.
Why we don't use it. So Detective Furia during COVID, the reason he's leading in this field is he used the study of physiognomy to reconstruct the face based on detail that was hidden by the mask. And then you'd feed it into the software, and then the software could give you a positive match. So yes, obviously, this isn't a modern case. There was no investigation, but the study of physiognomy doesn't change how your face changes over time, similarities and things like that, distance between the eyes, blah, 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 blah. All the stuff that we talk about he's just saying this. He has a good way actually of saying things like, I'm just trying to get you to understand when he's really not saying anything at all. So it's like, the posture is that like he's proving a case to you over this 20 minutes, but all the stuff he's saying has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We already covered all this in the documentary. So he's talking about all this in the context of my documentary as if, let me explain the truth to you guys. And then let me straighten it out. And then you'll see that the detective never said that, you know, Bigfoot's real or Brushy Bill is Billy the Kid, blah, blah, blah. When we never said that to begin with.
All just data. You also got to consider stuff like shadows or the lack of color and the harsh lighting, all of which can
Water is
drastically
wet.
hinder the results when it comes to facial
Breaking
recognition.
news. Water is
The
wet.
closest thing that I'm aware of that actually semi-works on these old pictures is a tool called the Civil War Photo
I wonder if
Sleuth,
they're a sponsor.
originally designed over at Virginia Tech. And even then, it doesn't really
I
work
called
the
my
way most
friends
people
at Virginia
assume.
Tech, and they
What the
said,
facial recognition software does is just narrow down a list of candidates. And once that's accomplished, a human steps in to make the actual identification.
Well, it's just a human.
Thing from uniforms to service.
I have to. I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
Virginia Tech. And even then, it doesn't really work the way most people assume. All the facial recognition software does is just narrow down a list of candidates. And once that's accomplished, a human steps in to make the actual identification.
It's just a guy. It's just a guy with the eyeballs God gave him. I mean, and you know, humans, we have this paradoxia thing or whatever the hell he said, where you see Jesus in toast and stuff. So, like, you know, human is just an opinion. But now a human steps in to make the identification. Which is it? Is it that we can't rely on humans? You know, or we can. And you know, he's not a facial recognition expert. He just happens to be in uniform working in that department. Tell me if I'm crazy in the comments. But we literally just got through. If you have plenty of time to waste, you can go rerun this thing and hear like, you know, we see Jesus in toast and Virgin Mary in water, and yeah, you can't rely on human beings. We need technology. That's the implication. And then now human steps in to make the actual identification.
Photo Sleuth.
Which we said in the beginning. It's in the documentary.
Originally designed over at Virginia Tech. And even then, it doesn't really work the way most people assume. All the facial recognition software does is just narrow down a list of candidates. And once that's accomplished, a human steps in to make the actual identification.
Any human but Detective Fury.
Uniforms to service records, and yes, even provenance.
Except for Severo
created it, Kurt Luther.
Yeah. And provenance. You know, they take that into account. Except for Severo Gallegos' signed sworn affidavit. That's not provenance. Don't think about that. I'll tell you what to think about.
A match in the system is simply a starting point.
Wikipedia. Thank you.
While computer algorithms can filter out noise and highlight the best options,
nobody cares, brother. Nobody cares. Only humans can provide the careful analysis
and identification. In other words, a match.
That's literally what we did. So, literally what we did.
Computer algorithms can filter out noise and highlight the best options.
Oops. Only a human.
Only humans can provide the careful analysis and synthesis required for an airtight identification.
Airtight.
In other words, a match in the system is nothing more than a lead. And guess what? The same exact thing applies to the NYPD.
Yeah.
Their own internal documents quote, the facial recognition process does not by itself establish probable cause to arrest or obtain a search warrant, but it may generate investigative leads through a combination of automated biometric comparisons and human analysis.
Done by Detective Furia and the detectives in the facial recognition department. Okay, wasting our time here.
So even with a match, a real detective still has to go out.
He's a real detective. Still has to go out. Yeah, we know. We know. It's in the documentary.
Just because somebody dings in the system doesn't mean they just automatically go to prison.
Really?
Hell, it doesn't even mean they're arrested.
Really? How do I fast forward?
Just a lead. And that's with modern high-resolution images. It's still not perfect. So why on earth would you want to use it with 19th century tintypes? It just boggles the mind.
Because they look alike. And you guys are the idiots. Not you. You're not an idiot by far. But these guys, not him, are the idiots that want to say they don't look alike. How can you be sure they don't look alike if you can't determine anything by photographs? As soon as the Silver City photo came out, You had this big push. Well, the tintype isn't Billy the Kid. That never, I've been in this since Young Guns came out in the 90s, okay, 88, 89, 89. That nobody ever said the tintype is not Billy the Kid. And as soon as the Silver City photo came out and it proved that they look alike, now that's not really Billy the Kid in the tintype. Whatever. You guys are lose, baby. You have lost. You're losing this. You have lost this argument with your repeated adherence to obviously false stuff. Like they don't look alike. He was too young, his own family. Like that, he may not be Billy the Kid, but it's not going to be because of this stuff.
Of course, it doesn't really matter because, like I said a few minutes ago, Detective Furia, by his own admission, didn't even use the technology.
Bro, I can't help you. I can't help
Now, I
you.
suppose there's an argument to be made that maybe with a guy like Detective Furia,
Maybe.
maybe he's so
Maybe with the person that you just said would do that analysis and make the referral, who's the actual expert, who's much more reliable than the technology, maybe with him.
experienced and so well trained that he's just better than the technology. Maybe he's
You just said that the human is better than the technology. Your Wikipedia article just said that the human is better than the technology. So he's phrasing it in a way to make it sound like, well, maybe. I mean, yeah, I'm a reasonable guy, so maybe. You just told me he was. Or are you dissing him? And he'll say, oh, I'm not dissing him.
so good that he really can
He's
just
so
reliably eyeball these photos and determine what's what. And yeah, maybe. I have no doubt that
so stupid. And there was a lot of analysis that's not on camera. We talk about it.
the
The
man's good at his job. But the unfortunate truth, and once
the truth. This is now official from the homeowners association. So
again, I am not saying this to single out Detective Furia, but the unfortunate truth is that he did make a mistake during the documentary.
no, he didn't. I know I watched this once. So this is
And it's a pretty
these people are just embarrassing.
glaring mistake,
The
in my
glaring
opinion at least.
glaring mistake. Yeah.
Remember those 6 images that were supposed to show Brushy Bill
There's another
Roberts at
smoking
various
gun.
stages of his life? The ones that Detective Furia was highly confident were of the same person? Well, as it turns out, they don't all really depict Brushy Bill Roberts. Namely, this guy. Allow me to
I
introduce
know the
William DeBrell Wood.
I know who the girl is that sends him these things because she reached out to me a bunch. She tried to torpedo my documentary, and I was gonna sue her. And you can't you can't copyright a vintage photo, but I wasn't copyrighting a vintage photo. The violation was trying to basically hurt my documentary before its official release date, which is a violation of copyright. So it just nobody listens to these people. So there's no point in me wasting the money to sue or my time. But they now feed this guy stuff, I think. Possibly. Well, she mentions them on air, so I think it's pretty clearly does. So he's going to say this isn't William D. Wood, that there's a whole video on this. These photos are not labeled correctly. He's going to say, oh, Roosevelt's book and whatever. And then he goes to the archive, like he went to the archive and he shows a summary of the archive page right here where it's you can't see it. So it says, Bronco Buster, but you can look at the actual back of the photo and it says possibly this person, possibly that person. And in that photo, they identified two completely different people as William D. Wood. So he's going to go on and say, that's not William D. Wood. The whole point is they look alike. So even if one, I never said he was William D. Wood. I said it was William S. Murphy. Now, somebody did find a record of William S. Murphy in New York City that doesn't seem to be Brushy Bill, but Brushy had, here's where I enlisted. I enlisted with a buddy who was half Indian. I was a Bronco buster. I got court-martialed. I had tuberculosis, blah, 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 blah. All of the service records of William S. Murphy seem to fit that. Where he enlisted, he had tuberculosis. He started as a sergeant, then he went to a private. There's a lot of stuff around that. I'm not God, I'm not the homeowners association. I don't have everything perfectly buttoned up, nor do they. They really have literally no understanding of this whole topic. But that's okay. They just repeat each other's stuff. And this amateur research by this girl and these other people. So not that they're not amplified by certain other groups, but and the legacy Billy the Kid legend people. But anyway, we don't know. The whole thing is let's investigate, let's find the truth. And if they find something rather than say, hey, let's look at this, let's consider this like we're actually a community. It's like, in your face, smoking gun, you're a fraud, you're a liar. Like it's not how normal people react, right? It's just not a reasonable way of doing research. So anyway, he's going to say that it's not William D. Wood, so Detective Fury was fooled. He wasn't fooled. He said these guys look alike, which they do look alike.
Able. Shout out to the nice folks over at Harvard's Houghton Library.
Yeah, bro, it's online, dude. Like, have you been there? Did you actually go and get the photos and look with magnification and look at the actual back of it? No, of course not.
For sending me links to the digitalized copies.
Digitalized copies.
Was also able to find an additional photo of Wood, circa 19.
Okay, so this is the guy, I guess from his family, that says this is the guy who was in the Rough Riders, and he does look like him. So I have to look at this. Now, I know people say, "Oh, that's Brushy." Well, I mean, look, if there is a family connection and they have all the history and there's different photos of him, but this is a stretch. One, I don't even believe these freaking people because they've lied so many times. Not you, Josh, but these other people. You got to be really careful because this girl was sending all these other pictures. Here's a picture of William Wood. It's just there's no provenance at all. So, we talk about we need provenance, we need evidence, but then these people come up with stuff and they make stuff up that doesn't exist. So they say, oh, in the archives in San Diego, whatever, there's this record. You go and it's not there. So I don't know. I would have to look at this. If it turns out that that guy is not Brushy Bill, then it's fine. I mean, it's a little suspicious though. But again, let's say it is. Let's say it's incontrovertible fact that well, I never claimed that Brushy was William D. Wood, but that it's William Wood. That's Brushy Bill, let's say. So that doesn't mean he's Billy the Kid. So conversely, if it's not, it also doesn't. So again, you look at the body of evidence, you try to sort through the things that are um, not credible, but they don't do that on their own position. That's what's frustrating. Not frustrating, but that's what's illegitimate. They don't apply the same standards on their side.
05 as part of the Leora Wood Warner collection.
Blah, blah, blah.
Cowboy, he'd marry at least twice.
Yeah, yeah, we don't care.
Census Records, City Direct.
Yeah.
Well, not only that William D. Wood served with the Rough Riders, but that he was his own person.
So they took the label of that guy, which is on two different people, and said that's William D. Wood. I never said he was William D. Wood. I said he was possibly William S. Murphy, which maybe he's not William S. Murphy either. I really need to solve that once and for all. But I'm open.
Who lived his own life completely separate from blah, blah. Photos of Brushy Bill as an old man. He also seemed confident that Wood matched the guy in the Silver City photo, which he would later compare to the tintype of Billy the Kid.
Yep, they look alike.
Now, in Furia's defense, he was sort of misled that all 6 pictures were of the same person. And I do take him at his word that he didn't know the project had.
Thank you for that graciousness. So he wasn't misled. I said, I think they're the same guy. I also said, I think this is Levi Miller. And he said, I don't. So this is all baloney that I misled him.
Anything to do with the famous outlaw. As far as he was aware, he was just working on a genealogy project and offering his opinion. If this was an actual investigation, I have no doubt at all that Detective Furia would have gathered additional evidence.
No, that's not his job. Exactly. You have no idea what you're talking about. He would have done exactly what he did for me. Exactly. Here's all the known photos. I think this is probable cause that this person you should talk. I say, so if I was the detective, he used to be the detective, then he got in the department. But if I was the case detective, you'd say, go talk to that guy. He goes, yeah, I'd say you'd probably want to go talk to that guy. You're not telling us anything, dude.
Chain of custody, corroborated.
Blah, blah. No, he wouldn't. That's not his job.
Like that. And sir, if you happen to stumble upon this video and you think I've misrepresented your role in the documentary, or if I've gotten anything wrong and you just want to clear the air, please do not hesitate to email me at
blah, blah, blah.
If I've made any mistakes, I am more than willing to offer up a correction in a future video.
You don't like the decision of the homeowners association, you may appeal. And you may bring your concerns at the next homeowners meeting, and we'll consider it, and we'll tell you if we are willing to concede your point. Other than that, may I have the next homeowner, please? So look, we don't care, okay? You got a following of people that enjoy your videos. You really should stick to that, in my humble opinion. You're not a historian. This is not a historical analysis. You really aren't qualified to comment on the video. Everything, again, in my opinion, we just went through is just a colossal waste of time. You're welcome to your opinion as much as you want, but the last thing I'm going to do is come to this guy and say, "Hey, can we talk about it?" I don't care. Okay, this is so obviously biased and so obviously framed in a way to appear neutral when they're not neutral. This is not a neutral presentation. This is so you're either biased, in my opinion, or you're admitting you don't know how to process information correctly. So again, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm not making videos about this guy. They all make videos because there's nothing interesting in Billy the Kid other than Brushy Bill Roberts. And was he or was he not Billy the Kid? And so there's a lot of interesting things, but there's a lot of interesting things about everybody. There's a lot of heroes, and not that he was a hero, there's a lot of outlaws and things that nobody cares about. There's not a big trend on the Dalton brothers right now. There's not a big uh, trend on Al Jennings. Why is there a big trend on Billy the Kid? There's been two big spikes, okay, since they started Google Trends. I'm not taking credit for this, but I am fortunate to be the guy that found. Look, I'll be, and I'm not being arrogant. I'll be factual. I've been blessed to add more truth to the Brushy Bill Roberts story than anyone before me than Mr. Morrison. And the only reason for that is I was able to get to Mr. Morrison's daughter. I was able to see his actual files. I have copies of his files, his tapes, and all that stuff. I don't have copies of the tapes, but I was able to work with his daughter, who's now passed away, and really learn a lot of stuff. So that and my book did very well. So there's two big spikes in the interest in Billy the Kid. The first is when my book came out, and the second is when the Silver City photo came out. Now, I actually have screenshots of this. So I think Google Trends started in 2004. And I looked and I have the screenshot of it. I looked at it recently and this is no longer the case. So I'm lying to you right now. But the original time I looked, it was October 2014 when my book came out, and the other one was like 2020 when the documentary came out. There's two huge spikes in Billy the Kid in recent history since 2003. Now I looked and it doesn't seem to line up as cleanly as it did when I looked before. But if I don't really care, to be honest with you, but I'll look for those spikes. But the fact is, the only reason Billy the Kid is interesting as opposed to these other outlaws is the Brushy Bill connection. So all these guys are going to keep coming back to it. And look, you're not going to add anything on the positive side because these guys don't do primary research. They're not going to discover Brushy Bill's audio tapes. They're not going to discover, long lost genealogical connections and pictures and things like that. So because they don't do that, they got to take the opposing side and just smash it and misrepresent it and try to get as many clicks as they can. So hey, I don't, doesn't bother me. It's a free country. Uh, I'm not Will Smith. Keep my name out your mouth.
And the same thing goes for Dan Edwards. This
No,
is not meant to be a hit piece on Edwards.
for real.
It's also not my way of bashing this documentary.
Ha ha! I'm so comforted. Thank you so much. Like I really care. Don't care, but thank you. It's very kind. He's been a gentleman. Other than this, I mean, he's been a gentleman, and I like this guy. I don't know if I like you anymore. No offense, but I think you're veering into things that you really should probably stay away from. But that's okay.
Like I said earlier, I get this question at least a couple of times a week.
Couple times a week, so it's not overwhelming to where CIA, FBI, KGB, Department of Transportation, and you just wanted to clear the air because you're the expert. You're tired of dealing with it. Okay. You're tired of dealing with Brushy Bill. Let me hear what you said because I don't want to misquote you.
And the same thing goes for Dan Edwards.
Yes.
This is not meant to be a hit piece on Edwards. It's also not my way of bashing this documentary. Like I said earlier, I get this question at least a couple of times a week. So all I'm doing today is just answering the many inquiries I've gotten in regard to the Silver City documentary, namely the New York City Police Department's role. And from now on, I can just point people to this video and be done with it.
Okay. All right. So let's see if this happens. So what you're saying is that you don't want to deal with Brushy Bill. You're just going to point people to this. You're going to move on. Now, I'm sure the fact that I'm doing my own response video, you'll have to respond. We got to keep going around and around, but I'm not going to keep going around and around because this is stupid and a complete waste of everybody's time. But you can if you want. So my contention is that your most popular videos are videos on Brushy Bill, and that you're not going to walk away from it and never make one. I would bet money that you're not going to be done with Brushy Bill. You're going to, oh, hey, they're calling me from outer space. They got to have my coffee on Mars. I mean, it's not that I want to sell more coffee. It's just that, they're begging me. I have to do it. So that's what you're saying. You're saying that, people are just dying for your opinion because you're the expert, and you want to settle this for all the residents in the Billy the Kid community, and have an official point of view from the homeowners association. So God bless you, no problem. But I hope you are done with it because I don't want to make any more response videos.
I won't have to keep saying the same thing over and over
Right.
and over
Just
again.
watch the video.
Now, before we go, I'd like to also take a brief look at the study conducted back in 1990, another facial recognition study.
Okay, I don't care about that. All right, thank God. Woo! All right, my friends. So look, the no disrespect, I had a little fun with this. There's some parody. I call it the Wild West Exploitaganza. None of this is attempted. It's a great channel. You should actually watch it. It's entertaining. He's got a great Kenny Powers voice. These guys, look, it's not what I do. So anyway, but do get your Billy the Kid coffee because every box of Billy the Kid coffee has Brushy Bill's picture on it. And so all the gift shops in New Mexico that sell Billy the Kid coffee have Brushy Bill's face. So it's a little bit of a sneaky way to have some fun with it and spread the word. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it. I'll probably not do another one because I really don't enjoy this. I enjoy talking to you, but I really don't want to do these videos anymore because I can't stand watching this stuff. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. It's not a logical progression of an argument. They contradict themselves. You want Providence, but literally the guy was alive. Severo Gallegos was alive. You could talk to him. The governor could bring him in. We got to do an investigation. They could have, and they didn't. They invited Pat Garrett's kids and had a publicity stunt. This is so obviously a hoax by the governor and by the legacy Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid people that you'd have to be an idiot. No offense to you if sorry, you'd have to be ignorant of the facts. I don't. That doesn't mean stupid. Okay, stupid means you can't process information, but ignorant of the facts is different. And so you'd have to be ignorant of the facts to not understand that this was a scam, and it wasn't a scam on the behalf of Brushy Bill and Mr. Morrison. They literally had the guy Severo Gallegos, who helped Billy the Kid escape from the Lincoln County Jail, who brought the horse to him, who was there, eyewitness, who knew Billy, brought him berries to eat every day in the jail. He's a contemporary associate of Billy the Kid. 14 years old. Back then, you could buy dynamite at 14 years old. Back then, you could do a lot of things. There's literally drummers in the Revolutionary War, I think, that were 14 years old and 15 years old. So this isn't a child. This isn't like a toddler that doesn't remember. This is somebody who recognized his childhood hero many years later, spoke to him at length in Spanish and in English, looked at him very closely and said, oh my God, this is Billy the Kid. And I'm willing to talk to you about it. And they stayed in touch. Mr. Morrison sent him boxes of cigars saying, thank you very much. So again, you want Providence, but then when there's incontrovertible support that he was Billy the Kid, well, let's not talk about that. Or, it's not true, whatever stupid excuse they come up with to be inconsistent. You can do whatever you want, but water is still wet. Gravity is still the law. So, all these little games that people play in the gymnastics don't undo the facts of history. Okay. If we find out that Brushy Bill Roberts was never in the Rough Riders, he just heard these stories from other people, that's okay. We can deal with that separately. But, the be honest on both sides. So the last thing I'm going to do is have blind allegiance to one of my own theories, which I clearly articulate as suppositions and theories in my book and my videos and all that. So whatever. People seem to appreciate, and I thank you for the comments. They seem to appreciate my view on these things and how I approach it. And I enjoy doing it, so we'll keep doing it. I'm sorry I don't have the permission of the homeowners association to have private conversations in my own living room, but I don't think I need your permission, and I don't think the community needs the permission to think for themselves. So anyway, thanks guys and gals. Great talking to you today. Have a great day, whatever day it is for you. See you. Bye.